Breaking news! Things are getting wild at Miami Dolphins training camp, and trust me, you're going to want to hear every detail of what's going on behind the scenes. The pads just came on for the first time, and what happened on that field has serious implications for this team's Super Bowl hopes. I'm talking surprise standouts, major injuries, depth chart shakeups, and possibly one of the biggest developments on the offensive line in years. And yeah, some names that fans weren't even thinking about a few weeks ago are suddenly in line for real roles on this team. But here's the real kicker. With just 1 week of padded practices, some cracks are already starting to show. You know, the kind that reveal what this team is made of. Mike McDaniels knows it, the players know it, and the fans? Well, you deserve to know exactly where this team stands. But before I dive into what could be a make-or-break moment for Miami's 2025 season, go ahead and smash that like button, but only if you've been bleeding aqua and orange through all the heartbreaks. And if you've been riding with the Fins for 20-plus years, drop a comment saying, "Go Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange." Alright, let's get to it. Day 1 in pads just wrapped at Dolphins training camp, and it didn't take long for things to get serious. The biggest and most concerning development is the injury to safety Ashtyn Davis. This wasn't just a tweak or a cramp. Davis left the field with a significant limp, barely able to put pressure on his left foot. The cart came out, teammates surrounded him, Tua included, and although Davis waved off the cart and walked himself off, it didn't look good. Shortly after, he returned to the field wearing a boot and using crutches. Folks, this doesn't look like a 1-week recovery. The fear around camp is this could be season-ending. This is a brutal blow because Davis, signed alongside Efetumanu in March, was expected to start next to Minkah Fitzpatrick. Let's remember, this was before the big-time trade that brought Fitzpatrick over in the Jalen Ramsey-Jonnu Smith deal. Davis was penciled in as a starting safety. Now, that room is paper-thin. Mellon is still on the NFI list, Dante Trader Jr. is banged up, and we're looking at Patrick McMorris and Elijah Campbell as your 2 healthiest safeties. Let that sink in. There's now a real opportunity for McMorris, last year's 6th-round pick, to make the final 53. This guy was on the outside looking in, but with Davis potentially gone, the door is wide open. And let's not sleep on undrafted rookie John Saunders Jr., who's made plays throughout camp and could absolutely grab a spot if he continues to shine. But this is also a moment where Chris Greer, again, somehow still employed, might have to do what he hates doing. Spend money. If he doesn't move fast to bring in a veteran like Marcus Williams or Justin Simmons, it's another example of him not doing enough to patch glaring holes. But let's flip it and get into some good news, because it's not all doom and gloom. Let me tell you about Patrick Paul. This kid might just be the next anchor of the offensive line. Miami took him in the 2nd round of the 2024 draft knowing Armstead was probably calling it quits, and so far, Paul looks like a home run. On the first padded practice of camp, Omar Kelly reported that Paul was the top performer in one-on-one drills, dominating everyone he faced except for 1 rep, and it didn't stop there. Travis Wingfield detailed how Paul absolutely stonewalled Bradley Chubb in 11-on-11s. We're not talking about a rotational edge rusher. This is Chubb, a known force, getting completely neutralized. The confidence surrounding Paul is rising fast, and for good reason. This isn't just about looking good in drills. This is about showing up in pads, in real football situations, and proving you belong. And after struggling in 3 tough starts last year against top D-lines like Tennessee, Houston, and the Jets, Paul is already showing serious growth in year 2. Dolphins fans, we might have found a long-term replacement for Armstead. And speaking of youth, the entire left side of the line is undergoing a transformation. The starting O-line seems set, with Paul at LT, Jonah Savaiania at LG, Aaron Brewer at center, James Daniels at RG, and Austin Jackson at RT. Initially, some thought Jonah would slot in at RG between vets, but McDaniel is going full youth movement on the left side, pairing Paul and Savaiania together. That's a bold move, but if it works, this line could be elite for years. Jonah, by the way, has also made headlines in camp, while Kenneth Grant, our 13th overall pick, has been bulldozing offensive linemen in one-on-ones. Jonah has held his own. In fact, Travis Wingfield said Jonah managed to move Zach Sealer off the ball, something he hadn't seen anyone do in 4 years of watching camp. That's how strong Jonah is. And when you pair that with the hype around Grant's immediate impact on the D-line, it feels like these draft picks are starting to pay off in a big way. Now let's talk about the running backs. This room is loaded. I've said it all offseason. This is the deepest, most talented group on the roster. On Tuesday, pads went on, and the run game took center stage. Alexander Madison? Monster. Barry Jackson reported he's already had at least 10 explosive runs in camp. That's insane. He's dominating in short yardage situations, too. Then there's Devon Achane, who caught a 40-yard pass that could have gone for 60 and a score if they played it out. Jalen Wright's had an up-and-down day, but overall, he's been solid through week 1. Add in AJ Gordon, and you've got 4 guys who all look like roster locks. Not to mention Alec Ingold as your FB. And while the offense shines, one name on defense is becoming impossible to ignore. Willie Gay Jr., the one-year signing, has been the surprise of camp. He's standing out in every report, and honestly, he's closing in on Tyrel Dodson's presumed starting spot. Dodson? Crickets. No buzz, no plays. That's not a good sign. Omar Kelly even said Gay looks like the starter next to Jordan Brooks, who, let's not forget, was elite last season. Could this LB duo be the next great thing in Miami? Let me know what you think. And then there's the rising legend of Chop Robinson, orange jersey winner again, multiple times. This guy is poised to explode. Last year he had 8 sacks and was top 5 in pressure win rate from week 8 to week 17. I'll say it right now, Chop could get 12 sacks this year. I know it's a hot take, but with Anthony Weaver dialing up exotic blitzes and creative defensive packages, the sky's the limit. Weaver is so good, I honestly don't expect him to be here next year. He's that close to being a head coach. Let's keep it rolling, because we're just scratching the surface of what's unfolding in Miami. The pads are on, the tempo is up, and the competition is getting downright fierce. This training camp isn't just about warm-ups and walkthroughs anymore. This is real football. This is where you find out who's ready to fight for a playoff run and who's just wearing the jersey. Let's go back to the trenches for a moment, because there's a bigger story brewing with this offensive line than most people realize. Patrick Paul and Jonah Savaiania aren't just young guys doing well in camp. They represent a major philosophical shift by the coaching staff. When McDaniels and this front office passed on veteran linemen in favor of drafting youth, especially in the second round when offensive tackle wasn't an immediate need, it raised a few eyebrows. But now, it looks like they might have hit gold. With Terran Armstead gone, there was genuine panic among the fan base. And understandably so. You don't just replace a top 5 left tackle with a second-year player and expect things to go smoothly. But what we're seeing from Paul is beyond encouraging. It's transformative. Holding off Bradley Chubb in full speed, padded team drills is not normal for a second-year lineman. That's star potential. That's the kind of development that gives a quarterback like Tua the time and confidence he needs to play at his best. And this isn't happening in isolation. Jonah Savaiania is pushing people around in a way we haven't seen from a Dolphins interior lineman in years. If this left side holds up, and Brewer returns healthy to anchor the middle, Miami's offensive line could go from a glaring liability to a strength. Let that sink in. We've spent years watching Tua scramble under pressure, worrying about whether he'd even make it through the season. If Paul and Savaiania hold their ground, that narrative could finally flip. Now on the other side of the ball, Kenneth Grant is looking like a wrecking ball. There's no subtlety to his game, just raw power and aggression. He's taking experienced linemen for rides and collapsing the pocket before quarterbacks can even set their feet. This guy is going to be a problem, and not just as a rotational piece. He looks ready to start alongside Zach Sealer right now. That's a scary interior duo. Think about it. Speed off the edge with Chop Robinson, power in the middle with Sealer and Grant, and then a creative genius like Anthony Weaver pulling the strings. This defense could be something special if they stay healthy. And speaking of the defense, I want to circle back to Willie Gay Jr. because what he's doing in camp can't be overstated. This isn't just a guy having a few good practices. This is a linebacker making a case to start right now. While Tyrel Dodson fades into the background, Gay is flying around, making plays, and getting attention from reporters and teammates alike.